All right, folks, welcome back into Around the Corner, Around the World with Martha Zolla. I'm Tyler Poppert, and now we are going to be taking a look at the Occupy Wall Street protests that are going on. So, Martha, before we really kind of get into it with that, I'm kind of interested to just get your general thoughts on the entire thing.
Well, it's interesting to me, and look, excuse me, far be it from me to say to somebody that they shouldn't have the right to protest. They certainly do have the right to protest. It should be peaceful protest, though. You should not have damage being done to property. You shouldn't be getting in the way of people being able to go to work. And you compare this to the Wisconsin kind of thing where they did damage. It's not quite that bad, but it could get out of control. I think it's interesting, though, is these same people on the left that are protesting Wall Street are the ones that have been saying that Tea Party folks are racist and they're awful and they're terrible. But yet, if you've ever been to a Tea Party rally, and I've been to a few of them, some where there have been tens of thousands of people there, when they leave, it's cleaner than when they came. No damage is done. No people are kept out of work. So I think what's interesting here is that it's a sort of ends justify the means, that for some reason, because they feel like banks are bad, that they can get out there and disrupt business. And they have the right to do it, but I don't think it's a good idea. I think they ought to be out looking for a job if that's what they're concerned about.
Martha, one thing I will say about this is I don't quite understand what they are trying to accomplish. Now, you go back to, and what you just said kind of sticks with me right there, and saying that if you're just trying to disrupt business, it doesn't make sense. And to me, that really seems to be where it's at right now. What exactly, I mean, protests can accomplish a lot, but this one in particular strikes me as up because I don't necessarily know what they're trying to accomplish.
Well, none of them know either, but I understand the underlying message is that all these businesses on Wall Street are posting bigger profits than ever, yet people are unemployed. But the reason why is, first of all, we gave bailout money to these companies. Who did that? The Congress did that. The banks didn't do that. Okay, the Congress did it. Why aren't they protesting in Washington? The other part of this is because of the uncertainty with the tax code. I mean, they extended the Bush tax rates, but then it's only until the end of next year. Companies are unsure. So what they're doing is they're sitting on their money rather than expanding their business. They're expecting more from the employees they already have, okay? But at some point, it's going to be diminishing return. You're not going to be able to keep expecting more and more and more. So that's obviously something that's a big problem. So I understand why businesses are sitting on cash. I want them to feel comfortable enough to start putting that cash back into the marketplace, but they don't feel secure. And I don't think protesting outside of the building and threatening them is going to make them feel any more secure about this situation.
All right, go and you started to discuss the Tea Party. Kind of compare the two just a little bit more. I really want to know kind of the comparisons in the two different types, really.
Well, the one thing, most of the people that go to tea parties are employed and they're taking time off from work and paying their own way. These guys are what I call rent-a-protesters. They are generally, and it has been shown that their expenses are being picked up by other people to get there, and they are getting money to be able to protest. So they're basically paid protesters. So we've got big challenges out there, and this is not the way to handle it. But things are much worse today than when they were when President Obama took office. And I think what you're going to see is more Tea Party people standing behind things and getting stronger, and the left is going to get louder and louder about it. And you mark my words on that one.
All right, so as far as going forward, kind of tell me a little bit more about what the effect this might have as far as, looking ahead for those election cycles and,
I think the protests will go on until the weather gets cold up there. And, they'll go home. And then as far as the elections go, what we've got to do, and, in fairness, I am running for Congress in this new seat down here, so I don't want anybody to think I don't have an interest in this. I do. I want to be elected to Congress. But one of the things that I think is interesting about this is we have got to elect more people that are going to fight for regulations to be pulled back, fight for a tax code that is going to be consistent, that businesses can bank on. The reason why big businesses are sitting on money, but let's not forget, little businesses are not sitting on money. Little businesses are dipping into their savings to be able to keep their employees hired. So there is a big difference between the small business and the big business in this whole thing. And we have got to open up the opportunities for larger businesses to be able to invest in this economy, but we've also got to make it easier for small business to do business.